Who is flying under the radar in fantasy football right now as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft in 2025? Specifically, Dynasty is what this one's intended for. That's a question we answer today on Armchair Fantasy Football. I'm Corey, that's Wally. We got a handful of guys you can get for what we believe to be remarkable values. And I'm going to start with someone who plays in the same state that Wally and I live, breathe, and work in. That's Dontayvion Wicks, a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. We'll have some numbers on the screen here. Some of the best separation numbers in all of the NFL. Remarkable route runner. Truly has all of the tools except the end part of the reception, the part where you catch it and don't drop it. He's had drop issues. They've been absolutely killer. The team is stacking up on offensive linemen. I'm not sure if that's going to hurt the passing game at all because Josh Jacobs had damn near a career year this last year. They really used him as their bell cow out of the backfield. But this receiving core is wide open, so lack of competition, phenomenal route running. He's getting separation on DBs. He just has drop issues. There have been subliminal comparisons in and around the Packers world in Titletown to Dontayvion Wicks, at least in the route running makeup. To Devontae Adams in the route running makeup between Devontae and Dontayvion Wicks. Devontae also had drop issues at the beginning. So if he ends up being anything close to the second coming of Devontae, that's fine. I just don't think Wicks is on a whole lot of people's radars at the moment. So combining the great route running with the lack of competition, pretty good quarterback play for the most part, I like it. I think it's pretty appealing because you're probably not even going to have to draft him. He'll probably be an early season pickup.
And it's encouraging, too, that clearly the Green Bay Packers, whether they're right or wrong, we don't know yet, they have a lot of confidence in this wide receiving core. The fact that they haven't gone out in free agency and been aggressive at this position, they'll probably add a day 2 or a day 3 wide receiver to the fold. It's kind of the MO up here in Packerland of what they do. But if Wicks is able to figure out the catches thing, you're right. He gets open. He can be a guy that can be 1,000-yard receiver in this league. It's just a matter of putting it all together for him. I think that could be a really fun one, especially if Jordan Love can play a lot more like the second half of the season Jordan Love that we've seen the last 2 years. My first one for you, I'm going to go with the signal caller for my Las Vegas Raiders, and I think it's Geno Smith. I think that last year was the first year since 2021 that Geno Smith wasn't the most accurate passer by adjusted analytics. Oh, that's right. He was number 2. So you were talking about 4 straight years now. He's either the first or second most accurate passer in the league, and he was playing behind an atrocity of an offensive line, Corey. It won't be the Eagles line that he's playing with in Vegas, but it's going to be better than it was in Seattle. Last year, for instance, I understand the Raiders stink is a stink. It's hard to get excited about offensive players not named Brock Bowers on that team right now. But last year, the quarterbacks for the Raiders were 26th in quarterback accuracy, 29th out of 36 to targets to tight end. So look out, Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers owners, be very excited with this news. And Jacoby Myers is another one that you're going to be able to at least think he has a shot because of Geno again. Last year, 63rd most accurate in terms of all the wide receivers in the league when targeting Jacoby Myers. The Raiders offense is going to take big steps this fall. Geno Smith will be the reason why. People are rightfully going to be scared of the Raiders, but I'm telling you, if you snag Geno, especially in Dynasty where you can probably trade not that much to get a guy like this at this stage of his career, he could be a guy you're talking about in December or January as a genuine league winner.
He's durable, too. In his breakout year, he was one of the only quarterbacks in the entire NFL to play every single snap. Now, is that a reflection of the fact that the Seahawks weren't beating teams by 40 and we're just getting by? I don't know, right? But availability in general is a very important component in any type of fantasy football, and he was remarkable there. And yeah, the calling card of the offensive line. No, it's not a premier group over there in Vegas, but it quite literally can't get worse than what the Seahawks were doing right now. I guess it could be the Bears. They're not really looking for a quarterback. They're looking for like everything else. But I think Geno's got a great opportunity when you have someone who is durable and also extremely accurate and has some pretty good weapons around him. No, it's not going to be Devontae anymore, but I think that's a remarkable pick. I guess we'll go back-to-back with going with our own teams here. I'm going to go Cole Kmet, a tight end for Chicago. We've seen Ben Johnson feature the tight end a bit more in his offenses. That could speak to the fact that Sam Laporta is a straight-up beast, but almost 20% of targets this past year went to the tight end spot. I also think there's something to be said, speaking of offensive lines, with Chicago building up their O-line and Caleb being a year wiser, I expect Caleb Williams to have a little more time to survey his options and maybe not get sacked 60-plus times. Even in a great world where he gets sacked 30 times on choreographed pass plays where he's not scrambling and getting out, hopefully that means about 25, 30 more pass attempts and just another piece of the pie that goes to Cole Kmet in an offense ushered by someone who has been using the tight end historically pretty well in the Sam Laporta days. So sleeper is definitely a good way to describe him. I don't think Cole Kmet's going to go out there and be a top 5 tight end, but he might be drafted a bit outside of the top 12, 15, and could sneak in there as a fringe guy.
Well, a couple things too is Ben Johnson. He's such a creative play caller. It's probably going to alleviate a lot of those sack problems to begin with. And then the Bears line, in theory, should be a lot better this next year, which means that you're not going to have to bring Cole Kmet in to be an extra blocker nearly as much. He might have an extra few 10, 20 catches this year because he is able to go downfield a little bit more. Having Ben Johnson in there has me very excited for Cole Kmet. I really agree with that pick. My next one, I got to go with the Tank Bigsby.
Good name.
Huge jump in year 2 and grossly outperformed Travis Etienne. He's going to be the number 1 option early into the year unless Etienne finds that fountain of youth faster than Jack Sparrow and Stranger Tides. But the biggest question for the Tank is whether or not he's going to be able to become more of a fixture in the passing game. Only 7 catches last year. It's not good enough, but he has the capability to be a better version of Samaje Perine if he can go and get even 25, 30 catches a year. He's more explosive, similar in size. He can truck you over. Thank God he has that name, Tank. I love it. A lot of tread on the tires too, Corey. Only 218 carries so far in his career. I can see him getting close to that number alone this season. Don't think 1,000-yard season is really out of the realms of possibility if he's able to win that job. The key with this one, though, most of these drafts don't happen until closer into the summer. Keep an eye on who they draft because I think there's a real chance the biggest touch competition for Bigsby come about November next year very well could be from somebody that was playing football on Saturday last year.
Well, and even with how this team operates with running backs, I remember it's not too long ago, and he's bounced around the league a little bit now. James Robinson had a 1,000-yard season, and everyone's going, this is the guy. This is their future back. And we're still kind of in that renaissance where it's, oh, wait a minute. Is it going to be multiple running backs on multiple teams now? And then they drafted Travis Etienne. Everyone's going, what? Okay, they got Trevor Lawrence's buddy, whatever. That's fine. And then he took the job over, and now we're seeing the same exact thing with Tank. If Tank adds to his pass-catching arsenal and ends up getting 20 or 30, not only is that more appealing to PPR owners, but you become a more complete running back and maybe start to enter that conversation of 5 to 7 backs who can do it all and truly do have the backfield to themselves. Because, Etienne didn't exactly have a good season. He didn't do much to keep the job. Tank took it over. He could take it over even more, to your point, if he adds that pass-catching element. I am also going to be in the backfield. We'll stay in the backfield. This is probably one of the more obscure names on this list and that you'll see this time of year. Jaylen Wright, strictly because Raheem Mostert is gone, and I don't think Devon Achane is one of those running backs, one of those 5 to 7 right now, who will take up 80, 90% of carries, the majority. I think this is a 2-platoon situation. It was with Mostert there, and he had like a 20-touchdown season not too long ago. They still couldn't help themselves and decided to use Achane. Achane's the lead back right now. Did have injury issues his rookie year, was cleaner his sophomore campaign. I'm also not sure, this is kind of projecting, but if we see some more quick throws out into the flat from Tua to protect himself, I would sure hope so because he's seen his fair share of injuries. Curious to see if that Mike McDaniel-led offense, has some more quick throws so that Tua is not taking these crazy hits. Should be a successful football team as well. If they can sneak into that 8 to 10 win scenario where they're out in front, they're running the ball more, they bring the reserves in, they protect Devon Achane. I think Jaylen Wright's a sneaky sleeper. He's a deep sleeper. Don't be trading starters for him, right? Maybe he's in a package deal. You get him and someone else for more of a depth move. This is someone I'm looking more at the 2 to 4 year upside of.
I really, first of all, you're right, because there is a lot of injury issues, I guess you would say. Whether you talk about Tua, whether you're talking about the backfield in general, that usually means that these kind of guys are going to be around. Maybe that means 120, 130 touches this next year. And McDaniel has proven that he wants to play a 3-4 deep running back room even a few years ago, it was just like a crapshoot. Every game, it's which running back is about to explode for the Dolphins. I think that's to your point. It's going to have to be a little bit further down the list, but he's a great guy to get in these package deals that you can kind of stash away because when injuries happen, you need somebody who's not on a bye. He's a guy that you can throw in there, and who knows, maybe he goes off for a day. It's kind of similar for this next pick for me. I went with the tight end in Cincinnati, Mike Gesicki. Joe Burrow, man, has proven time and time again that he is tight end Robin Hood. No one rejuvenates careers like Joe Burrow himself. He got CJ Uzomah paid by the Jets after his career year in 2021. He gave Hayden a second life after his career seemed to be coming to an end. And last year, Mike Gesicki had a better year than he has, both of those guys had previously, amassing 665 yards, 65 receptions, and a pair of touchdowns to go along with that. After 2 really down years in Miami and New England, defense was like wet toilet paper last year, Corey, in Cincinnati. They simply could not get off the field. So if you even get your defense to being like a top 20-ish defense in Cincinnati this next year, you're going to have the ball even more in that offense that looks so prolific at times. And if you have that ball even an extra 3 minutes a game, it's going to be even more targets for Gesicki. I think he's going to have a very similar year to what he did last year, if not even slightly better. So another guy that you're not going to be looking at him like it's going to be like Cole Kmet. He's not going to be a top 5 tight end, but he's a guy that you can comfortably throw out there each week and think, hey, he's probably going to be good for about 3 catches, 50 yards, and let's hope that he gets a touchdown. So really, really high on Gesicki this next fall.
I like the wet toilet paper analogy. I guess I didn't really put 2 and 2 together that, Uzomah and then Hayden Hurst and now Gesicki. Like borderline and sometimes not even borderline career years for some of those guys. My big takeaway from this too, great pick by the way, is I want stock in this offense, especially with the way this defense has been playing. This is an offense that not only is equipped to score 35 a game, they have to stay competitive. The only reason they were statistically in the run for the playoffs down the home stretch, ultimately didn't get in, is because of the offense. The defense was absolutely putrid. And unless you go really far down the depth chart, these guys are going to get their chances. That's why T. Higgins is considered a wide receiver 1 on a handful of football teams in the NFL right now, not named the Bengals because they have Jamar Chase. You go down the line, Tyler Boyd not too long ago when he was with the Bengals was probably the best wide receiver 3 in all of football. He was the wide receiver 2 on some teams, and on some really bad teams, he might have been the 1 because Joe Burrow is spreading the ball out so much, because they're so pass heavy, because they're so committed to this aerial assault style offense. And because they have to. They have to score 40 points. They have to score 4 or 5 touchdowns to have an opportunity. So great pick. I really like that these tight ends have just been trending upward and upward and upward, and they've been having inflated numbers working with Joey Burr himself. Last but certainly not least, this is definitely a risk. It's J.J. McCarthy, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, now working under Kevin O'Connell. After his days in Michigan, he was out for the entirety of last year with the injury. This is a risk because he has not taken a snap in the NFL yet. Why would we take this risk? For those of you who have been following this channel for a while, I'm a pretty conservative player. I like to, in a past video where we were talking about bad practices, I like big bodies of work. I want to see guys who are established. Why would I take a risk on essentially a rookie this year? Because of everything around him. Because Kevin O'Connell is a guru. Because Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson are the best 1-2 punch possibly in the NFL outside of maybe Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They are right up there. Because Sam Darnold, who was on the precipice of possibly retirement or converting over to the UFL now, just had a career year with the Vikings and got himself a bag, even though he collapsed, to Wally's prediction, the last 2 to 3 weeks of the season going into the postseason. All of that has happened. It's to the point where you kind of make the Brock Purdy joke. I don't care who we plug into this situation. I think it's going to be fine, and I think so many people are scared of A, the injury, and B, the rookie status, that if he falls enough in your draft, I do believe you'll have to draft him. It's worth it. Or trade for him.
He's going to be a guy. I think that Kevin O'Connell is one of those sneaky guys right now that could make you and I go out there and look functional. He's just unbelievable play caller. All that I feel like we talk about with Mike McDaniel is what should be applied to O'Connell right now. What he's done with this offense, the coaching staff in general, you can say it on both sides of the ball for Minnesota. It's another conversation. JJ McCarthy couldn't be in a better situation. They have a homegrown offensive line. They're trying to kind of have that Philadelphia mentality. Great offensive line. You throw 2 stars out at wide receiver, and you believe that you can kind of plug in an average to maybe slightly above average quarterback, and they're going to run. They're going to star in that group. Maybe they don't have Saquon Barkley, but they have everything else out there. Solid tight end too. If JJ McCarthy can't succeed in Minnesota, he's just not going to be able to succeed in the NFL. I think that if you're willing to take a gamble on him, it's a heck of a pick.
There's one extra element which could very likely happen, and that's Aaron Rodgers deciding to go to Minnesota, which would, in essence, blow this entire last little bit of the video up, which has happened on this channel before. He could go to Pittsburgh. He could go to Minnesota. Even if Rodgers goes to Minnesota, it's not a long-term marriage. So long-term, I could still make the argument for dynasty, not so much redraft, but dynasty, that J.J. McCarthy is the move. Young, healthy, offense around him, specifically with Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson. We didn't even get to him as well. And a good supporting cast and a guru in O'Connell. But yeah, that would jar things a little bit if Rodgers decided to continue to follow the Brett Favre path. We will cross our fingers and toes that does not happen. But those are 7 sleepers going into 2025 for your dynasty and redraft format, specifically dynasty with the McCarthy scenario that we just sketched out for you. If you enjoy fantasy football, like playing it, looking for some advice, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. Video suggestions in the comment section below are welcome, and we will see you in the next one.